Francis.
Raymond and Francis. Okay,
What do we got?
I'm just gonna give you one clue, and then I want you to guess.
All right.
It's a mirror.
What?
What is the mirror match?
Energy.
It's Zoo.
It's
I don't think I've seen this
Zoo.
in like 9 months.
Zoo mirror match. Sure, I guess.
I had to hide the deck list from Derek on that one. I think this is hilarious.
Old Zoo. Well,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Leyline of the Guild Pact, Scion of Draco is the only thing that matters for the next 50 minutes.
this is a weird
Yes,
mirror, right?
it's such
Because
a
if
weird-
you get the combo in play,
Yeah,
like you.
but if both players have the combo in play,
you're
they're
just,
irrelevant.
Like, staring.
Yeah.
Right, because they both have first strike, right, or some shit. So it's like just trading, just scions.
It's just
Okay.
This is awesome. Oh my god, this is awesome. All right, Francis has my vote, only for one reason.
All right, what's his spice?
Joshua Phoenix is dominant. Another Final Fantasy card,
Joshua's
boys.
Phoenix dominant. All right, yeah.
And
Raymond's
if you
not on
don't
any.
know, Joshua is better than Lightning. That's my hot take. I think Joshua is better than Lightning.
What's spectral denial?
Probably another Final Fantasy card.
I'm googling it.
If I'm, how many? You thought I was crazy.
I did.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. Spectral Denial is the cons card. It is the new updated
one last
stubborn.
reach.
You're right. Right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we only have one.
it's,
We only have one Final Fantasy. But if there's one Final Fantasy card at every single one of these tables, I was shooting too low. I was shooting too low.
I guess so. All right, but yeah, I don't think Raymond has any Final Fantasy cards. No, he's chilling.
He's chilling.
But we got
Joshua.
The one of.
This
one
card,
of Phoenix.
turn two,
All right,
baby, right off Ragavan.
So my dream for this matchup.
Okay, both players didn't have Leyline.
My dream for them both to go pregame actions, be like Jinx, and then just put them in play.
Well, now they know they're going to have to do it game 2. Game 1's going to be crazy. Okay, so we have Francis with Domain Zoo as well as Raymond with Domain Zoo. But now this whole matchup is going to get very complicated very quickly. Your tempo matters.
Yes.
No player had Ragavan,
No.
but one player has more 2-drops than the other, and that's Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Francis has a completely better late game with Flageant Phoenix.
Yeah, Raymond's got the much more aggressive list. He's on the Wild
Yes.
Nacatl, he's
Wild
on the
Nacatls and
Ragavan,
Territorial Cabus.
the Brawler.
If Raymond can come back with this, even just
right,
with
4
a-
Bolt, 4 Flames.
Absolutely. And no one's leyline binding is going to be effective early.
No.
So if Francis wants to answer this Kavu, if Raymond plays Kavu, Francis has to sacrifice an entire turn in order to be effective at dealing with it. That's not what's happening here. Ragavan.
Turn 2 Monkey. Okay, well, off the top, classic. And then Surveil.
And complete domain.
Yeah.
Domain off the Surveil.
Okay, so could have been that maybe his hand was Surveil and Fetch and Ragavan. Maybe he opted to.
If it was fetch Lush Portico and you didn't have Ragavan, I obviously agree with whatever Raymond was doing. And then it's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, well, I found the land, so I guess I'm just dealing with this slow Ragavan now. But I also don't deny the strategy that, hey, I have a Ragavan turn 2, but I have 2 coming to play tap lands. I might as well just throw a threat now every turn forward because my opponent didn't do anything turn 1.
Yes.
So I can also understand that. So we have an Endotha-based zoo and we have a Xander's Lounge-based zoo.
I guess that is the difference.
I am in favor generally of the Endotha Steam Vents mana base because you get Endotha Steam Vents and you get Thundering Falls as well. It's sort of like a double. I like splitting obviously the green and the blue sources, and I like splitting the white and the red as well.
Oh, there's Tribal Flames on the Monkey.
Yeah, board state is going to matter so much in this. I don't blame Francis for using a slow removal spell on something like this right now.
Yeah. This is also funny because like without Leyline, Scion's kind of bad.
Yes.
Because like Tribal Flames, Leyline, like
Yeah.
their removal package kind of deals with it pretty cleanly.
Very,
like they're,
yeah.
The deck's kind of good against
the only thing
itself.
that it doesn't, which both decks are both representing, is 4 light copies lightning bolt.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the only removal spell that doesn't deal with Scion.
Yeah. But yeah, Francis on, Mortal Lord stores 3 drops. He's got the full
Yeah.
Flage package.
Yeah.
Raymond only on 2 Flages. And then, of course, Francis has like Fable the Mirror Breaker and old
Right.
Phoenix Boy.
I think Francis is deciding whether to use that Tribal Flames on that Scion right now or not, and I think the answer should be yes.
I think you kind of do just have to just trade your cards until one of your runs
I think
out.
Francis searches for the basic Mountain here, and plays the Ragavan in his hand and the Tribal Flames, and tries to swing tempo.
Yeah. Would you dash Ragavan?
No, there's no point because you wouldn't have the mana to do that, and
Right. Tribal
yeah.
Flames.
Well, he's going to go for the shock. Okay, so he's not respecting his life total as much, which means to me there's also potentially a Flage in his hand for levels of recovery. Yeah, but to me this is.
Kavu.
Okay. Oh, he's going Kabu Stubborn Denial.
Kavu hold up stub for
Yeah, but we have a
Raymond's.
Spectral here. We have a Spectral here to stop it.
Old stub versus new stub right here, right now.
I think. No.
Maybe has the read.
He has the read that that's a stubborn denial from the opponent's.
Because if he did it on the stack, right, he
Yeah.
wouldn't have enough mana to
Right.
just pay the 1 anyway.
Right.
So I think either way,
But now it's a hard counter now that it's resolved.
Yes.
So I think I would have done it anyway.
just to force it.
Yes. I do believe that's a Ragavan. Stubborn Denial. Oh no, it is not. It is another Tribal Flames and another Kavu, I believe.
Okay, second Scion. All right. Sure.
Why are we leaving white open, Raymond? What are we doing here?
Yeah, surely you just, you can tap anything. Like, might as well tap the Portico and the planes,
there's a
right?
difference between just planes and not planes, and I'm wondering.
Well, that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no one, I guess, does he have, he has binding.
Yeah,
mana
he has
up,
binding,
right?
yeah.
So that could be the reason to leave up the white hairs for binding. Right, but that means that he is tapped out of the stub, or the spectral, I guess, in his case.
I've seen Raymond play Zoo for quite some time now. I'm just wondering.
He's been playing this deck forever.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I feel like every time that I've had him on coverage, it's been
Zoo.
Him
Yeah.
playing Zoo, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here comes
But
another Tribal Flame.
that's sometimes the benefit. Yeah.
Hey, if you know if you know what you like, just,
Yeah.
just play it, I guess.
Are we gonna exchange removal and counter magic here? Yeah. See.
Yeah, here comes
Yeah.
that,
See,
here
I
comes
think
that.
that's why we were supposed to counter the spectral the last turn anyway.
just trade counter spells.
Yeah. Because now we're trading less mana, right? Like now
Yeah.
we're down mana. We're down mana. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, discards the Flage to the Kavu. Very nice.
That's
That's free real estate.
yeah. Yeah. It seems like Francis's version of Zoo is definitely more suited towards the late game with 4 copies of Flage, just
Yes.
the 2 that Raymond has.
Yeah.
But Raymond is a lot more of a lean version with multiple copies of Neshoba Brawler and Wild Mikado.
Yeah. Yeah. The much faster kind of 1-2 punch build of Zoo. Francis is on this kind of like long, more value oriented Zoo pile. But both sides just trading blows at this point.
Yeah, I think Stubborn Denial / this new Spectral Denial has a limited value in the mirror match.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like, not trading the counter spells against each other is worth more than just playing multiple copies of the same card.
The third Scion.
Yeah, but it all doesn't matter because Kabu is way more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how different this game would be if they had Leyline out.
Well, if they traded counter spells and then the Leyline Binding was out and then the Kavu would be gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now Raymond's, I guess, representing his counterspell, so...
Yeah. Also, Francis on 2 copies of Arena of Glory and Raymond only on 1.
One.
Respectively, 2 copies to 1, and then same ratio between both decks, but... But Francis on way higher counts of looting effects.
Yeah.
4 Fable the Mirror Breaker, 1 Phoenix Dominant, and then 4 Flages to account for that.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 Fable the Mirror Breaker, Nope. Yeah, my apologies. 1 Fable Mirrorbreaker, 1 Joshua Phoenix Dominant.
All right.
Still
well,
more looting
Surveil's
effects,
Bolt
but-
into the yard. Lethal in play for Raymond here. Also, any Trouble Flames is enough to seal the deal.
Yeah. But
I think
it's 4 cards in hand versus the 2.
Yeah, I think Francis was really looking for an Arena of Glory here for the Flage, but it doesn't look like he found it. So, what's plan B to not die? Maybe. All right, just gonna go looting again.
Yeah, the card filtration matters. Yeah, discard this ley
Don't
line.
need that ley line, I guess.
Well, not without a Scion, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't do quite as much.
Well, if Raymond just played 5 threats in a row and just survived this race,
just slammed Scion 3 turns in a row.
Yeah.
And turned him sideways. Because Flage, unfortunately, not enough to get him out of at least the lethal on board.
This has to be a Spectral Denial here. Correct? Does Spectral Denial hit creature spells?
It does. Counter target spell.
Okay.
So yeah, here's the fetch.
I would hit planes here. Oh no, there's already planes in the field.
And so,
there's
yeah,
no
he can
island, so
cast
he
it
has to
for-
fetch shock.
He has for X equals 4 here if he wants.
Yeah.
So it costs 1 less per each 4 power creature in play. And I count 2.
I think you're looking for a red blue source? No,
Blue.
I don't think you hit
Shock?
You already have a Lush Portico and a Plains. I would magnify my blue and red sources with that with the island side.
You got to get an
Strand.
untapped land though.
Does he not have Steam Vents?
No.
He
Oh,
does.
yes.
Yeah. I would have
One
fetched
Steam
Steam
Vents.
Vents.
Okay,
here.
there's Steam Vents. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay.
Did
we
change his
changed
mind,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
Yeah. I would respectably flex it this way. Yeah. You want 2 red-blue sources. You want 2... like, I can understand what Raymond's thinking is like, I want a green source, but you don't have Breeding Pool in this list.
No.
No, you've sacrificed the Breeding Pool for a Blood Crypt, so there's no situation where that's going to be possible. I think Steam Vents is your best option. It's not the best option that the modern card pool provides, but it is the best option that your deck list provides.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to make that decision.
Sometimes you got to pick the best card that you put in your deck.
Yeah.
And taking damage from the shock.
Yeah.
And new counterspell.
Another sub.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so we still have a game then.
Yep. Well,
But
it's off
Raymond
the top.
needs any burn spell.
Even a dashed Ragavan works here.
Yeah. Any source of damage. Otherwise, it might be they might be staring at each other. Because if Raymond doesn't have the kill here, he can't really attack.
Even Leyline of the Guild Pact worked here.
Yeah.
Leyline of the Guild Pact.
Leyline's good.
Yeah. Leyline's good.
Because
Flage is good.
with Flage and Francis Yard, he can't swing.
The only misses are lands, Stubborn, Spectral, Neshoba Brawler, Wild Nacatl. Those are the only dead cards. Everything else is actually insanely
Everything
live.
else kills.
Yeah.
Actually.
So like we're at 12, 13 copies of dead cards and everything else is like live.
yeah. But looks like he did not pick up a not dead card. He picked up a dead card, it looks like. And he's doing the math. No, Raymond! Unless you have the kill, you can't do that.
It's a Wild Nacatl, yeah, for sure.
All right. Wild Nacatl does keep him in this. Technically. Assuming Francis has nothing, because...
Well, he has to have nothing in 2 cards, but he has a Flage in the bin, correct? So
he
it's
does have
over.
a Flage in the bin.
Yeah. He has a Flage in the bin. Oh no, he does not have Arena of Glory yet. We went
No,
through that,
no.
So,
So, he has to have some follow. He's got the Final Fantasy guy in his hand.
And
I recognize
Raymond being
the-
at 6 is just insanely perfect. It's just, you're just blocking with this Wild Nacatl,
Yeah.
not thinking twice,
Nope.
keeping your life above 5.
Yep.
So, if I am correct in my assessment, I believe there's still another Tribal Flames in Francis's hand, so you make the attack. Raymond is forced to block, and then you
forced
just
to
kill the
chomp.
Scion. And you just
Yeah.
hope.
Hope
you just
he
hope at
has
that point.
nothing, yeah. I mean,
I think the line is played out for Francis here. I don't think he has a decision. In order to maximize his longevity in this game, the opposing board has to be cleared.
because yeah, even the Flage doesn't really keep him alive.
No,
right? It's
it
been
won't
4,
keep
and
him
then
alive.
Scion kills
Yeah.
him. So
Yes.
force the chump.
Yeah. Yeah, we're disregarding the other combo. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct.
Digging. Yeah, digging also good.
Yeah. But I believe there is another
Raymond
Tribal
thinking
Flames.
about blocking? No,
Yeah.
Raymond, you block this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're casting Tribal Flames on this.
Francis is going to go through the lines a little more. Make sure he's not missing anything. But correct, you cannot kill him with Flage this turn, and the Lightning Helix is not enough to save you. So, oh, I don't like 3 mana.
Unless he has this and he's playing Joshua, so he's discarding 2. So it's not Tribal Flames.
He has Flage in one other card,
Okay.
so I guess maybe he didn't have Flames at all. Yeah, reading new cards.
Yep.
Get a look at the back.
Yeah.
It's a lot of text back there.
There's a lot of text back there. So it's a 4/4 flying lifelink.
Yeah.
It deals 2 damage to your opponent each turn, so you do gain that life over the course of
Yeah,
2 turns.
okay,
And
nice.
on the third final chapter, you reanimate 6 CMC worth of creatures from your graveyard back to the field.
It's kind of a weird include in, like it looks better in Raymond's list, honestly. Like what you give?
Yes,
you
I
know?
do. Yeah, yeah,
You pick
I
up
agree with you.
A brawler, a Kavu, an
Yeah.
Akado, a Ragavan,
Yeah.
all in play. That seems
Yeah.
great. Like
Yeah.
because you can't pick up Scion.
Yeah.
So now he's discarding the 2 cards. Oh, they are not
Did
relevant.
not find it.
Wow. Okay,
Wow,
so I
that
thought it was a Tribal Flames. My
Yeah.
bad. But I guess it was Phoenix the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Nope. Then
Yeah,
that
it
was
was play something else.
Then that
Second
line is
card.
correct. You just essentially just loot for 2. But hey,
You look
he
for it.
tried to look for it.
Yep. Yeah, dug for it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, there's no benefit in not attacking because Raymond is forced to block in that situation because
Yeah.
because if Raymond doesn't block and he plays Phoenix and he finds a lightning bolt, then he wins. Like you give the outs to be too high when you're not blocking in that
Yes,
situation.
yes.
So like you're
6 in this matchup is like,
Yeah.
like you said, perfect life total,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You need double Flage,
Yeah.
double Bolt.
Yeah, you need 2
Flames
something.
plus something,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
there's no one shot
Exactly.
move of the deck.
Yeah.
Once you go to 5, now you're in danger.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, but
So just plain big dumb artifact flying dragons just got them
2
there.
mana 4/4s.
Yeah,
2 mana
yeah.
flying 4/4s. That's
Yeah.
all it took, really. That's modern for you.
Yeah. I do still think it was correct to like trade counter spells on that one turn.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think both players just played like
Yeah.
fantastically because like these decision points, even though the decks look very simplistic in nature,
Yeah.
the sequencing is always what matters in this format, and it's just never appreciated enough that you have to do things, you have to do the right things at the right time.
Yes.
And if you don't, it
Right,
can
'cause-
immensely punish you. And we almost saw that turnaround happen turn 3 in this match. It's like, oh, we didn't trade counterspells then. Now I'm trading tempo. I'm losing all this mana. I'm losing this
Yes,
ability to build
yes.
board state on my turn now because the shields are still up for my opponent.
Yes.
And then when I play Leyline Binding, now it gets countered. It's like, now I'm hooped. Like, that was so close to be turned around, but Cyano Draco got there. So,
It did,
so
yeah.
that definitely was the determining factor in this match.
Yeah.
So for game 1, game 2, how do you side? Because
I'm not a zoo player.
I know that there's 2 theories about this. You either, I'm going to suspect if both players are very keen on what they are supposed to do, they will both side in for consigns.
See, that's what I was waffling
Yes.
on. Is that like,
Yes.
you know, from me playing other decks that play Consign, I would sideboard in Consign, right? Because I know that 1 mana counter Scion, very good.
Yes, it's not just that, it counters Leyline Binding, which
Yes.
protects your Leyline of the Guild Pact
Yes.
and your other threats.
Yeah.
Consign is actually key here. Now here's the thing. Consign stops the top end of the deck, but Raymond's list
Nothing at
is
the bottom.
super low.
Yes.
I
Consign's dead
actually
against-
think Raymond has a very awkward edge in this mirror right now because you have 4 Wild Macattle, you have 2 Neshoba Brawler. Very not played cards.
No.
Like Wild Macattle and Neshoba Brawler have been out of favor forever, and it's
Yes.
because of the presence of Galvanic Discharge in the Boros decks. Paying 2 mana to get removed by 1 mana is not effective, but Francis doesn't have that ability. in this deck.
Yeah.
I think when both players understand that Consign needs to be in both decks, I think Raymond is very highly favored when it comes to these slight decisions.
Yes.
Of course, one player can have the nuts and none of this matters.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you cannot afford to be on the draw with your opponent with a Leyline of the Guild Pact in play. You cannot do that. You can't be on the draw and have an opponent Leyline of the Guild Pact on the play. It's just not possible.
And you have nothing.
You wouldn't even let it happen if you had the combo,
Yes.
right? Like, you would postpone your thing if your opponent missed a land drop for you to be able to consign theirs.
Yes.
It's just not even a question.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Because, like I said, Consign stops the top-end dominance of this situation, but there is a lean version of the Zoo deck that's being played right now, and it can be potentially more damaging if Francis is only relying on the top end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and then Francis has a slight edge in that he's on the 2 wear tears.
Yes.
Raymond's only on 1.
I don't know if Wear Tear is actually effective, because if the artifact and the enchantment is in play, you can still only target the enchantment.
Yeah. The fuse cost is not really a conversation.
Yes.
It's all just for, do I need another card
Yeah,
to get
I
rid
think
of
I think if you don't consign it, you can't rely on Wear Tearing it. I actually think it's that polarizing, especially if you're playing in the mirror. That's how I would eventually approach it, but let's see how the players are going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both decks are on Surgical Extraction. Do you bring that in for Deposing Flage? Or if you counter
I don't
Scion,
know if Flage, I don't think Flage
use
is that
Surgical,
matter.
their Scions?
I don't think Flage is that good.
Do they think they side it out? Is it just not good in this
No,
matchup?
it's good, but it's not the linchpin of what the deck is going to provide you, right? Like, if your Kavu is 5 colors, like,
and of course the repro about the mirror is that, like, you've only seen maybe like 20% of your opponent's deck. So
yeah,
like,
but you know 80% of it.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that, like, is that from your perspective. So does Raymond think that Francis might also be on, like, these like cheap creatures like Ragavan,
No,
Brawl, or
see, if
Kavu,
Francis
right?
sniffed it out when he saw a Joshua Phoenix dominant and 2 Flages in the bin, he's probably thinking he's more top end.
Right,
I would assume
because Raymond does have Wrathis guys in the sideboard, which does sound kind of good.
Yes, yeah.
But like, it would be the bad move against Francis' pile, because it's only really picking up Ragavan. You don't really want to cast for 5 and pick up like a Fable.
No.
Right? That takes way too long. Also, both players still no pregame actions. Come on. Why do you play the deck in the first place if you're not slamming the thing into play?
Yeah, do the thing.
Right? Stop keeping these like, oh, it's a playable hand. Go for the busted openers.
Yeah, all right, so here we go. Just Lush Portico tapped.
Yeah.
I think Raymond mulliganed? Yes. Am I going to assume that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he did. With Raymond on the draw, mulligan, just 1 surveil, and then kept the guy on the top. So that does not smell good for Francis, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean...
But here we go. I would assume it's Indatha Steam Vents and Territorial Kavu. That's my assumption on the play for turn 2. Like, just force Raymond to actually have a high-end removal spell like a Leyline Binding or a Tribal Flames. Because if he's staring down 2 Wear Tears, it ain't going to do anything against Kavu. And I think that's why you don't side in Wear Tears, because that dynamic is too strong. But Consign to Memory still has...
There's too many game states where it's just dead.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so then I'm wondering if both sides are siding up their bolts. Is Bolt just like not really premium in this matchup? Because it's a little better against Francis' deck.
I think when Francis saw the Wild Macadal that blocked, he should keep in bolts.
Yeah.
But I think Raymond, seeing Joshua Phoenix dominant, should not keep bolts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. I see that dynamic.
Which is
happening
funny
as well.
because, like, of course, Bolt is better value against 3 drops, right?
Yes.
Like, but also it's just not really the winning line.
No.
But Francis, took notes from Raymond, was like, well, maybe playing a bunch of these 4/4s is pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's try that this
let's
game,
see what
I
happens.
guess.
Yeah. So I guess we can assume to see a Xander's Lounge and a Leyline Binding. That's my assumption based on what's happening right here. Consign has been sided in. Yeah.
Raymond
Multiple
kept his
consigns.
bolts in.
Yeah.
Or kept at least a bolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not enough cards to side out.
Could be.
Maybe you forgive the stubborn denial, spectral denial package in order to just put in consigns and say that this is better.
Yeah.
100%. This is a Leyline Binding. You need to keep the board state clear. Like,
Yes.
Raymond understands that this is the situation where you have to be the control deck and you need to be able to.
Thank you.
And you need to be able to keep the board clear because you're drawing an extra card from being on the draw.
Yes.
Like you have to be able to do this kind of strategy
Yes.
and be able to keep the board state clear because you will be one card up. This is how this matchup goes. It's just one of those weird situations.
Yeah, it is one of those weird ones where like, in this matchup, whether you're first or second kind of determines if you're the control deck or
Yes.
not.
Yeah, there's nothing
Like,
else.
I'm second, I guess I'm control.
Yes, yeah. Because you
We're just
have
gonna
one extra
we're just gonna
card.
keep
yeah.
the removal pile hand and just shoot all your
and,
guys.
and Francis not playing a threat is detrimental towards the situation.
So we
Yeah.
have way too many reactive cards, and it looks like we drew a late Leyline.
Yeah.
Well, Leyline
and-
could still have some crazy value if Raymond doesn't respond with a threat of his own, and Francis ends up playing a Leyline. That could be very good for him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like that's the case. Territorial Kavu. Here we go.
Kavu, yeah.
So
it
that's
looks
where
like-
the tribal flames has to hit it.
Yeah.
Like, the rolls are now
so
reversed.
he's got flames, he's got leyline binding.
See, I would not use the Leyline Binding because the Leyline of the Guild Pact and Sign of Draco is still a more important threat, and
Yeah.
Tribal Flames doesn't hit that many other cards.
And he did bring in Wear Tear. So now he's gonna
So
blow up the
he's gonna take out-
leyline.
Yeah, he's gonna blow up Leyline.
Bring
Yep.
his guy back.
Yep.
And now if he rips land here, he could just play
I would just play the Gliding
Guild
Line Guild
Pact.
Pact, yeah.
And if Raymond has stub, he's got stub, whatever.
Yeah. But he doesn't because he would have. He would have in
against
that
the wear tear,
situation.
for
yeah.
sure,
That's
for
another
sure.
sniff. Like
Yes.
those are very
Or it's like, if you're not countering this one,
yeah.
like you're definitely not countering the next one.
Yeah, I would use the Tribal Flames on the Territorial Kavu. I just wouldn't think
just
twice.
keep killing.
Yeah.
So Francis playing a weird Delver game. Here's what it
Yes.
looks like.
Yeah,
He's playing
protect the
Delver.
queen, yeah.
Yeah. Here's my 2 mana thing that kills you.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna shoot all your guys.
Yeah.
Keep my guy alive and keep your guys not alive. It's a plan that goes back as old as Magic is.
Yeah. Ever since the deck,
Ever since the deck.
Sarah Angel.
Yeah.
Counterspell for Sarah Angel.
Alright, well, there's fourth land for Raymond.
is filtering his lands out. Like that is all fetch activations, and he still
Yeah.
has a Blood Crypt in hand. Like Raymond is just like, I need to not see these.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
He's gotta
like,
stop showing up.
I need to push this board state, and he needs to respond in kind because France is sitting there with 4 cards in the mid and a Scion on play. Like Raymond has to take advantage of him having more mana and more land drops in this situation.
He's got to really put the pressure on.
Yeah, I would actually just slam Leyline of the Guild Pact here if I were him.
Yeah.
Because the blue isn't up, and if he does have Leyline Binding, he has to choose to essentially do it now before you untap and be
Yes.
able to play a threat. But let's see what Raymond does. It looks like it's just going to beat Kavu.
Another Cobb.
And then there we go.
Flames?
Yeah, he is flamesing it. I would have done that in an opposite order for specific reasons, but it doesn't look like it's going to be relevant here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
All right, and there's binding on the
Responds
Kavu.
in kind. Responds in kind. Yeah. Francis wants a 4th land to be able to just play this Leyline of the Guild Pact and be able to play his threats nonchalantly, essentially afterwards. Yeah. Oh,
All right,
Flage you.
yeah, just flage in the face.
Hey, at least it's an option. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do prefer Francis's mana base in this situation. I really appreciate the double Arena Glory, but you have Indotha.
Right.
Yeah. Just the one tri-land.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have Indotha, but you have Steam Vents, you have Thundering Falls, but you're mainly red-based. You're mainly red-white based, yeah.
Yeah. And the mana base is more akin to the control decks that
Yes,
splash for
yeah.
binding, where it's here's the rest of my
Yeah.
land types on one land.
Yeah.
But my
I-
mana base is
yeah.
essentially 3 colors.
Yeah, I just like splitting the green-white lands off.
Yeah, because Francis is essentially just Jeskai, right? He's got the Kavu, but outside of that, he's
Yes.
red, white.
Yes. Yeah.
blue, right?
Yeah, I've just noticed that all the... Oh my god, the Surgical did get brought in.
Did bring in Surgical, so scooping up Flage, looks like. And the jig is up that Francis is on.
On mono removal.
Yeah, just kill all your guys. So it does come down to can Raymond draw more
This is
threats?
this is the interesting thing about closed deck list. Now he knows what is in this list.
Yes.
There's no hidden information now.
No.
Essentially, he's looking at
So
it.
if there's a game 3,
There's a, yeah.
he knows what's going down.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do guesswork anymore, and maybe he adjusts his sideboard a little bit.
So it looks like Francis did potentially. No, he did not side out copies of Flage. Okay. Yeah.
All the Flage is still in there, so there's all 4.
So
Bye-bye.
Francis definitely did try and take the control role in this situation.
Yes. Just,
Which
like,
is
play
interesting.
The long game,
which is
win
interesting
through
though, because
Flage.
like you're on the play. I wouldn't have done that, but I do respect what Raymond did. It's like, I'm on the draw. I will try and remove, and then potentially surgical something, and he got there, and he didn't even have to pay life. Look at that Xander's Lodge. There you go.
Play the black man.
Yeah,
Pog.
yeah. Now the only question is, does Raymond play the Blood Crypt that's in his hand and reveal to his opponent that he only has one active
card
spell?
left? Yeah.
Yeah. I think you do. For a variety of reasons, especially when you have your own Flages, I think you do play this Blood Crypt, but Raymond's gonna concede that. Yeah. But Francis doesn't exactly have a late game anymore. He's just looking for a 4th land, play the Leyline of the Guild Pact, and he did not cast
just
it.
land pass. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess because
He wants Leyline
maybe
Binding.
he's thinking that, since Raymond knows his hand, he's afraid to go shields down because maybe Raymond is or has more threats and he's waiting for him to play Leyline to then play his stuff to stretch his mana a little bit.
Yeah.
So kind of a weird game of chicken here where like they're both trying to like waste each other's mana.
Yeah.
Right. I think I think
we're
Leyline.
Yeah, I think we're deterministically past that now.
Yeah.
They both have 4+ lands, and now it's just going to be effect of cards drawn.
Here's Leyline. So the sad part is that I think Francis just ripped a Scion. So if he had just played Leyline last turn, he could have played his Invincible
Raymond
Scion.
just drew a consign.
It's all, you know, giving your opponent, that one extra card. Oh, I've got a Scion of my own, sir.
Yeah.
That's
Now here's
you.
the real question. He knows there's a Leyline Binding out, but he does not know about the Scion. Do you cast Leyline Binding, get your opponent to bait out a consign, and then play?
I certainly play the cards my opponent knows about first.
Yes.
If I'm going to be multi-spelling, I'm for sure going to be like, dude, try this.
Yeah.
Right. And if I was really heads up, I'm thinking like if I play Flames and they have consign, I can't bait consign with that.
Right.
But at least Leyline Binding baits consign and the other counterspells that would stop Trouble Flames anyway.
Yeah.
So go for the one that baits the most amount of spells.
Yeah.
See what happens. Because if the Scion resolves, Raymond loses the game, right? Like
Yes. It will be very difficult to come back from, obviously.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps because, I mean, we've all been through it before where you want to get rid of the Scion, but you have to deal with the fucking Leyline first.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, well, I don't have 2 removal spells to do this and then this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if I was Francis, I would start baiting out this Leyline Binding right now and then play my own Scion.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wouldn't hesitate as much, but I know obviously like the players are in tough decisions. It's round 2. They both won their first one. They're trying to get through to the top 8. So yeah, they're trying to make sure their plays are clean. But there are a lot of, and it's weird too because you have a Tribal Flames and you want to min-max the value on that Tribal Flames.
Yes, yeah, because it seems bad where it's like, why would I go Leyline Binding for 1 mana, Sign for 2, and waste a mana when I could go Flame Sign?
Yeah, but for the last 2 turns, Raymond didn't have a threat, and now he does. So what's in his hand, right?
What else is left?
Yeah. I would attempt to bait out this Leyline.
He's doing Flames for... Yeah, he's maximizing the mana.
Yeah, that's fine. Even if you don't play the Scion, it's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So if he's trying to min-max the Tribal Flames, I 100% respect that. I just would not play Scion because you've chosen to do so. Yeah, that's fine.
Blades back, or land pass. Okay.
See, that's the other correct line. Is like now we're waiting.
Yeah. Now we're just chilling. Wild the Cattle.
Yeah, a little kitty cat. Yeah.
1 mana 3/3.
Because all Francis has to do essentially in this situation is be able to hold board state. So it's like
That's the thing is that like if there's no threat from Raymond's side, Francis is fine. Right, he's chilling. But here comes Scion, and here comes Snap Consign.
Yeah, there's no question about this.
Yeah, see, I don't know if you sign out like the stubs or not, but I think what players don't do often enough is that if you know what your turn is, replicate Consign a bunch of times. just for the hell of it, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
would have at least replicated it one time just in case there was a stubborn denial
Yeah,
or two.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's if you're not going to use the mana, it's free anyway.
Yeah. Well, Raymond is now deterministically on a 2-turn clock. There's actually just a reason to chump block with this Wild Mikado
I
here.
think you do chump block.
Because if you don't, and there is a third Tribal Flames, then you're toast. Like,
Yeah.
the game's over. So
Mikado buys you one more turn. So I think you block.
Yeah.
And I mean, Francis is at 16. Like, what is this
Yeah.
Mikado doing? Like,
it's too late.
Yes.
It should have been there 8 turns ago.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, 100% correct.
Chumps.
To block.
I think it has trample anyway, and then bolt to finish it off.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Perfect. It's not the 2-for-1 you wanted, but it's the 2-for-1 you got.
Yeah, I think they
I don't believe Francis has a second.
missed-
I don't think he has a second surveil in.
Yeah, no, because the leyline abilities are red is red first strike? No, white is first strike.
White is vigilance, I believe.
Or sorry, yeah, I'm thinking 2 sets ahead. Leyline doesn't give those abilities at all. It silently gives them.
Yes.
I was like, I thought I thought Francis missed the trample on the Kavi because it's a red-green card. But
Nope.
No.
It doesn't have any of those abilities.
Yes.
The Kava was 5 colors, but obviously no abilities.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, the Leyline Scion text just kind of swirls around. And feels like it's one
does it
card.
have that? Yeah, sure, yeah.
Doesn't it have this text on it? But no, it was just a 5/5.
Raymond filtering his lands out, but still
Another one.
Still drawing another land, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about these domain decks is that, like, for a deck that needs so many different land types, they're actually pretty land light. I feel like in general when it comes to their
I
their
actually
raw
think
count.
Raymond has everything out now.
21 lands. How many?
I think he
actual
only has a
lands?
mountain. I think he only has a mountain left.
And an arena.
A mountain and arena are the only land producing
Yeah,
lands in
he
Raymond's
has
list
seven
left.
seven lands in play, and he has 2 left that can make mana.
Yeah.
One fetchable.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one.
Bolt you
Lightning
to
bolt
the
your
face,
face.
untap
Flames
tribal
you.
flames. Yeah.
Yeah, showed in the flames.
Little too many lands and too few wild Mikados for the early turns.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we know,
All right, game 3,
Yeah.
and Raymond has the slight edge in that
Yeah.
he saw Francis' deck list.
So what we saw there, Raymond ended up trying to be the control role and did that very effectively, but
Yeah.
then ended up having the situation come up where he even surgicaled out all the flages, but he couldn't keep dealing with the threats that Francis kept presenting.
Yes.
That's the consequence of just playing a card like Surgical. But it gave him the end game inevitability, but he never got there. He got flooded. So now on the play, I would start to reevaluate a lot of this situation.
Yes.
I would take out cards like Surgical. I would take out,
lightning bolts.
yeah, like now that we know more information as to like how the deck is fully constructed,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we're after something different.
Yes. Yeah, because Lightning Bolt kills what exactly Ragavan and a flipped Fable, which he has a
And
1-up.
I don't mind a card like Soul Guide Lantern where you can potentially just recoup the card loss from
Yes,
it and
just
gain
draw a
the
card.
disruption. But a card like
I
Surgical,
also honestly don't hate Ghost Vacuum either.
I think Ghost Vacuum's actually very like,
In this, I mean, with how this game went, where you're just kind of like trading rule spells back and forth.
Yeah.
If like Ghost Vacuum's just sitting there, like building
Yeah.
up, and then you're like, because like if you
I
have
have
Leyline
3
out,
Scions now, yeah.
yeah, and then you reanimate a Scion, like
Yeah.
the
They're-
text is still there.
Yeah, they're all 1/1s, but yes, it is still a win con.
Yes,
yeah.
they're all still flying first strike, whatever.
I've come around to Ghost Vacuum in Modern just
Yeah.
because of that fact where it's like, it's a fast decision, fast-paced format, but it is grindy.
Yes.
Like it has become like all
the games can go long.
Yes, they do go long, and I think
Yeah.
Ghost Vacuum just, I think Ghost Vacuum is just a touch slow, but it's
Yes.
just fast enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, players getting their opening hands for Game 3, deciding whether they're looking at keeping or shipping them back.
Both
Nope.
players keeping, and
Both
again,
players
no
keeping.
ley lines.
Nope,
Come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
team, you're killing me.
Yeah, this is
You're killing me, dude.
these aren't real Zoo players.
No, come on. Baby's first Zoo match. huh?
Yeah.
They're supposed to mulligan to the good cards. But it could be both players kind of like the same strategy where it's like, I'll just keep a handful of removal spells.
Yeah.
And, like, I would be surprised to see a game where they both just like land pass for like 3 or 4 turns in a row.
Yeah.
Because they're both just like, I'll just kill their Scion when they play it.
Yeah.
But neither of them have a Scion, so you're just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a lit joint. Do not unwrap it. I'm like,
Yeah, no 1-drops for either player either. Just
No, the only
hanging out.
one drop
I guess
being
maybe they
Ragavan.
side out the Ragavan.
I would. I
Yeah.
would generally. If you're on the play, I think there's a very respectable reason to keep them in.
Yeah.
But if you were on Raymond's side, you got to side out something. And I would look at Neshoba Brawler and Ragavan just based on their mana efficiency. I would keep it Wild Mikado like Raymond did, just because in case my opponent had Ragavan still. And
Right.
now you're looking at neutral mana efficiency when it comes to that situation. But yeah.
All right. Well, Raymond has the first
Yeah, first threat laid down, yeah.
first Scion of the game. Francis just, yeah, I'll get my Triumph too, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised to see, untapped Tribal Flames. He's got a Scion of his own. They just dueling Scions here.
Yeah. Matching, well, this isn't exactly matching mana base because Francis is down a blue source. So that wasn't a Steam Vents, it was a Sacred Foundry for the follow-up.
Yeah. So only a 4/4 Kavu.
Still on equal footing, but I don't believe Raymond is interested in trading the Scion for a 4/4 Kavu.
I would not be.
I would
interested in
attack.
that
Yeah,
either.
I think this is just a straight attack, play a land, maybe potentially remove the Kavu, and then keep going on with your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's got Trouble Flames in hand, so I mean, this
Yeah.
is a pretty easy Kavu kill.
I
here for
would say
me.
this is that's the awkward thing about Tribal Flames in this matchup. It's like I think that's actually the highest decision point card in the whole matchup.
Yeah. How valuable is it?
Is it a removal
killing
spell?
threats, or is it killing your opponent?
Yeah.
Because I mean, 5 damage to the face is a lot.
Yeah.
And
He's decided to use Leyline Binding.
so yeah, he could be saving it for the race here, where I'll steal 4 to you. I'll put you to 15. Once I update love totals here, from 15. But then, I mean, Trouble Flames can be that last little chunk of damage, right? So I think you are inclined to use it as like your last removal spell. 'Cause it does kill everything outside of Flage specifically. And you have other tools to deal with Flage, and it's a slow card, right? So
if you're Francis, do you play another Kavu or do you play the Scion?
Kavu number 2.
Yeah, looks like
this is a 5/5.
Yeah.
Oh, but do we have the counter?
If we have the counter, the amount of tempo gained out of this situation is going to be huge.
That's massive.
Because this is territory where it's like, oh, I drew a ley line, here's my 4th land, like, game's locked. Yeah.
Okay, it's a tap. Well, I mean, he gets to play it. It costs 1 less if he's if he's playing Spectral Denial.
Yeah.
Here, Xander's Lounge does cast that spell. No. Okay.
Is this a ley line? Did he keep a ley line on top? It's a Scion.
Another Scion. All right. Land. Show me Leyline.
Yeah,
Shock that
there's
in.
no other reason to shock. What? Nope.
No
All right.
Leyline. Okay. Maybe he's gonna play Scion, Tribal Flames the Kavu.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So again, Francis had a pretty nice life total here, being at 9. So Raymond needs one more source of damage.
Well, that's the ley line that Raymond wanted last turn, but it looks like it's the late ley line that Francis got this turn.
Yeah.
So Thundering Falls coming to play tap, not keeping up a counterspell to protect the Kavu, has changed the clock dramatically in this situation. Temple Garden, Stubborn Denial, and Leyline of the Guild Pack do not look like they help this board state whatsoever.
Not really.
Yeah, this is exactly the situation where like Consign to Memory would have been so key on any one of these decision points.
Yeah.
Whether it was on the Leyline Binding or the Scion to Dracos.
Yeah. So I think Francis has a Scion of his own he could still play, but that just does a trade and it puts you down to 5, which not a great life total to be at. And I don't know if you can afford to shock.
I think if you don't shock and don't present 2 pieces of cardboard, I think it doesn't
Maybe you should
matter.
lose anyway?
Yeah. Yeah, like Francis holding that Stubborn Denial just looks so embarrassing, unfortunately, just because that Thundering Falls came into play tapped, so it's very unfortunate for that situation.
Yeah.
But let's see if he can cobble up something to get out of this puzzle
Okay,
piece.
double Scion.
Double
Dude, that's
Scion.
pretty good,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, but if there's there's just so many cards that
So-
Raymond can have here, it's just not close. There's just so many cards.
So I mean,
You're really hoping Raymond has nothing.
So I think Raymond has Tribal Flames. But if you're Francis, I mean, you have Leyline in place. So you really want one of these Scions
You want
to
one to
survive.
live. If one lives, it beats every other one that Raymond could ever have.
So
yeah.
I think the play
I
is...
even think-
But if you block one, Trouble Flames kills you.
I even think, very specifically, you don't block. I even think you just
you
don't
just
block.
go to one, and you're like, if you got it, you got it?
Oh my god, he did
no
not attack.
attacks! Raymond, my God. I mean, all right.
Hopefully he has an enchantment removal because like Leyline of
Or-
Gabon just wins this game. If he
Yeah,
but
'cause Stubborn
if Francis
Denial
has a land,
needs a land.
has a land and casts the Leyline, I think we are just in a completely different game that looked completely different than 2 turns ago.
Don't make. Yeah, exactly. Don't.
Really? Kavu.
Well, I wouldn't deploy the Leyline without a 5th land.
Okay.
I wouldn't deploy the
Yeah, into the open mana. 'Cause against
Yeah.
Leyline counter, you just lose.
Well,
Surgical.
he's going to 7. What is
Paying
he
for the
hitting?
mana. I think he's taking Trouble Flames.
Ooh.
That's pretty heads up, honestly.
Yeah.
That's pretty heads up.
Well, your opponent already played 1 Leyline and 1 tribal. Well, he removed 3 from the deck, so it's none from the hand.
Okay.
But we have gained information, but us, the stream, has not gained information
Unfortunately,
because
this is the one spell on the tail that has glare. So, unlucky, really.
yeah, unlucky. Yeah. Yeah, but if Francis can start looting
So, yeah,
a dead draw,
Mountain, Surgical, Sacred Founder, I think, was Raymond's hand. All right. And what's nice with the Surgical, too, is that, yeah, because he did it on Raymond's turn, he knows the coast is clear for
Yeah.
the ley line, and
Yeah.
this is lights out.
yeah,
There it is.
this is it.
And then swing with the team. Because, I mean,
What a
everything...
turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe on that 1 turn when there was 2 Scions presented, you attack.
Yes.
I don't think it's close.
Well, Francis is at 7, so he has to block at least one of them,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then going to 3, like,
Yeah.
you've seen both.
Yeah. Yeah. I would, but like if I was in Francis' spot on that attack, you just don't even block. You just go to 1 and be like, if you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
But if I untap and play this, I win, right?
Yes,
like, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those are the hard turns where you have to just be like,
Yeah.
you know, it all comes down to this 1 turn. If you have it,
Yeah.
I lose. If you
Yeah.
don't, I win.
Yeah.
Because those are pretty good odds of, you know, one outcome is I win the game,
Yeah.
right? Quad or triple block on the Kavu. Interesting. So again, Kavu still only kills one of these things with thanks to the first strike. But I mean, I think the real damage here is the fact that Francis is going up to, or he's gaining 13 life.
Yes.
So going straight up back to 20.
Yeah. Achievement
Francis
accomplished. Yeah.
still
Yeah.
trades 1 for 1, and
Yeah.
he gets in a boatload of damage.
Yeah.
So I don't know what card gets Raymond out of this.
Yeah, that's
Lands.
all lands, yeah.
Just
yeah, Raymond unfortunately got flooded like in 2 of those 3 games.
Yeah.
But tight
lot of
play
lands
from
for
both players. Like,
Raymond.
wow, that turnaround was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the onus was unfortunately on Raymond that turn.
Yeah.
It's like,
because like, especially if I'm staring at a bunch of dead cards in
Yeah.
hand, I don't have time to wait
Yeah.
around to buy something.
you
before
have
it
to
gets
play
bad
in a
odds.
way where you have to force your opponent to make a mistake.
Yes. Yes.
And you have to let them not know what the mistake potentially was. When you don't present a decision to your opponent, gloves are off.
Yes.
Like, so I think Raymond
Right,
needed
like
to attack that
It telegraphed
turn.
so much, where Raymond has 3 threats in play.
Yeah.
You've got 2.
Yeah.
If both of his attackable threats go through, you lose, and they're
Yeah.
like, I'm passing.
Yes.
You're like, wow, we're so ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if they were even a little, like even, if they were, if I was even with them, they would have swung.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Like, but if they're behind and they're scared and they're like, I'm not going to attack, right? That just shows like, oh, he's got nothing in hand.
This mirror was more intricate than I thought.
It was fun.
Like it was an absolutely crazy banger. Yeah. Okay. All right. Time in the round.
Time on the round.
So other tables will finish in turns, and then we'll be ready for round 3.
Hell yeah. I'll do a little 3B here. Want to see how many viewers we got? we got a couple subs at least. That's fun. Or some followers.
Awesome.
We got 2.
Nice.
One of them might be the bot.
That's okay.
The old MTGO bot.
All for the YouTube anyway.
It is all for the YouTube, honestly. That's where the real views come in. But yeah, actually, that was a more interesting mirror than I thought
absolutely.
it was, right? Because
Yeah.
like I'm usually not a fan of mirrors. I feel like a lot of this comes down to whoever draws better.
Yeah.
But there are some mirrors where there are a lot of decision points on how you're using your
Yeah.
cards against your
Yeah.
opponent's stuff, and
Yeah.
and it is funny how good Zoo happens to be against itself. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cards where you
Yeah.
put it up against other cards in the deck. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, Turbo Flames is very good against all of your threats.
Yeah, I thought Raymond like sideboarded him beautifully. I think Francis was doing the best he could too. It's like, but like you're never really ready for the mirror,
Yes,
right?
no. Especially when you're kind of, because like I wouldn't put Zoo in like tier 1 or tier 2. Maybe it's, it's not very popular there, right? It's not very heavily represented online and stuff.
I think the difference between like 1 and 1.5, let's just say as an
Yeah.
example, is very small.
Yes.
And I think the difference between like 1 and 2 in a lot of people's eyes is very large.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like Zoo's always on that 1.5 edge.
A little bit,
Like,
yeah.
I think it's definitely closer to 1.5 than it is 2. I just think, like, sometimes you're just like, hey, I got all the police cards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have options for everything.
Yes. I mean, all the colors.
You
can
don't
play
you don't
whatever
have
I want.
Giganta anymore, but you have
No.
everything else. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's and so it's one of those decks where like when you sleeve it up, you're not thinking someone else is also
Like
sleeving
Territorial
it up.
Kavu is not easy to kill.
No,
Like,
it's hard.
yeah, it's always a funny card to me because it's just like, how is this card not played more? And then you sit there and think, you're like, it's a 2-mana 5/5 that loots.
Yeah.
And like
And also
exiles
attacks the
flages.
graveyard
Yeah, and you're just
sometimes.
like, this card has been around since MH2.
Yeah.
And it's just like only been in the one shell. And it's like, I understand why it's only in the one shell because it's a tribal card.
Yes.
But it's just like, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, this card's
It's
nuts.
It's a turn 2, 4-turn clock.
Yes.
Like just here it
Like,
is.
what are you asking for? It's better than Goyf.
It's huge.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's massive.
it's like, here's a Triumph, here's a Shock. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's even more potent because, like, I actually think that's one of the reasons Ragavan even still exists in these decks, is that, like, if you play a turn 1 Ragavan and you play the Kavu with a Stubborn Denial backup, it just doesn't matter.
No, it's so good.
Even though it's a 4/4 at that time, that's all you need for the
All you
Ferocious
need.
trigger,
Yeah.
you're good. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I honestly believe that's why Ragavan is even still in these decks. Otherwise, it should just be gone.
Yes.
Like, we've seen different variants of Zoo where it's like, let's play Psychic Frog, let's say Orcish Bowmaster, let's play, like, all these other different, like, variants. Like,
Yeah.
let's play anything. But, like, I like Francis's list a lot. I think I like the mana better, but I want to see how Joshua. I want to see how Joshua turns out this
Yeah, how
tournament.
far he goes.
Yeah.